like we are in the middle of a war again. It happened 4 years ago. Then COVID, when that happened, we saw that supply chain disruptions not only increase costs, sometimes they can stop production. Our goal is to simplify the journey of developing an idea and creating intellectual property, you can say, or acquiring and licensing somebody else's intellectual property to create products that we need in the market. It is about choosing the right raw material for your location also. Practically speaking, the emissions from transportation of a material, not even talking about supply chain disruptions and those issues of managing it, we can certainly reduce the friction, we can reduce the cost and the carbon emissions by choosing the right raw material, which is not the ideal best always, right? It's a materials transition, we always say. Like you have energy transition, it's a materials transition. We want to move towards by promoting better and better each time, and by promoting means using and investing. So there is that joy of research and science and innovation, but with practicality. Ki, will I get my input? Do I know what I'm doing? Or I'm just calling up people and saying, give me this, give me that. You're wasting time, your own time also, right? Because it seems like you're doing work, but you're not really doing work then. Like I spoke to 10 people today. You know what I mean.
Hi, welcome to 2 Degree Talk, a Fitsol podcast on sustainability and climate action, where we bring people, ideas and innovations happening in this space. I am your host, Anand Pathak, co-founder and CEO of Fitsol. Today, we are going to discuss a topic about where it's a mixture of material, sustainability and supply chain. And with me is today the guest has something around 10 years of experience or decade of experience in the material science, R&D and sustainability space. So we welcome you, Ramya Ahuja, and she is a founder and chief principal scientist of Ramya.Materials, where they work on innovations related to material science, and also they try to relate this material science with sustainability and cost exercise for most of these potential customers who are trying to address this. As we know, in the supply chain side, mainly regarding scope 3 emissions, almost 50 to 60% of emissions lies in the material side of the business. And if somebody wants to achieve their net zero goal by 2050, I think they need to work on the innovation of the material itself. And I think most of our existing customer itself, they are looking about what are the innovations that can be done in the material, which not only reduce carbon footprint, but also cost in that sense, because most of their KRA is also cost year on year. And I think with today's podcast, we might get a lot of ideas. I'm expecting a lot of ideas regarding material science, at least to our audience. And I think in the future, if there's a lot of questions, queries, definitely we will have a connect and contact shared of the Ramya over here. So yeah, welcome Ramya. We will start with something like basic about your background.
Okay.
And from the background, if you can relate how you entered into this field, because at least in my career of whatsoever 15 plus years, I have met someone first time who is working in this direction.
Yeah, okay.
It's my failure, I will say.
No, not
But I
really.
think it's very limited career
Yes.
choice in this field. So that's why I
Yes.
want to understand about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me and for all of this context on how we fit into supply chain innovation, manufacturing as a sector in India, and of course our carbon and sustainability goals. I am, yes, a material scientist, and I represent a team of chemists, materials, chemical engineers, mechanical engineers. We are definitely rare. And that's why we have come together to support SMEs across manufacturing sectors in packaging, in construction, energy materials, water and food systems, and even, of course, textiles that we were just talking about. So our goal is to simplify the journey of developing an idea and creating intellectual property, you can say, or acquiring and licensing somebody else's intellectual property to create products that we need in the market. And everything from, whether you're at pilot stage or you're ready to set up a factory, you need to hire a team. It is very difficult, as you would have seen, to do R&D in India. Most people, and this is also part of my story, that most people, jinko karna bhi hota hai, who the people who want to innovate, they get stuck because they are always firefighting. They are worried about cash flows, being very honest.
Yes.
Right? They have to, even promoters like second gen, third gen, promoter-driven organizations, jahan pe decision making does happen fast. There is a lot of genuine intent, but how much can one person do anyway?
Yes.
So building the team, the capacity, investing at a reasonable scale, right? You cannot take such big risks either. So we are there to de-risk and simplify the journey, and we become part of the team as consultants do till they are ready to fully in-house it. That's how we work, and that's why we are very specialized. It's not only you, many people I meet do say that you're the first material scientist we met. My undergraduate program had 6 people, and there were 1,500 in the whole batch.
Okay.
So it's in general a very rare choice.
Yeah.
And 6 में से I was the one who was more on the chemical engineering and biotechnology side, because I wanted to work on bioplastics, as we were discussing, and waste valorization, जो बोलते हैं, where we don't see any waste as a resource, right? When we talk about recycled plastic, for example, PCR that everybody is looking for, which you all are also providing support on, or we talk about chemical recycling, which is needed for advanced polymers. We talk about biofuel production, green hydrogen. Many of these actually start somewhere with waste, right? So that whole concept at industrial scale, and then how do you make bioplastics work and specialty chemicals work? That is like we are in the middle of a war again. It happened 4 years ago. Then COVID, when that happened, we saw that supply chain disruptions not only increase costs, sometimes they can stop production.
Yes.
Right? Because 85 rupees, say we are at 170 rupees for polypropylene right now. Polyvinyl chloride, PVC, so is anyway off the charts. It's very, very difficult to even produce. Many of these materials are not produced in India yet. So how do you compete there? And how do you, as you said, help people to reduce the cost by substituting the material? It could be a local material also, right? Substitution is not always like rocket science.
Yes.
Sometimes it is, but it's not always. So so my journey, I've mentioned some parts of it, but I wanted to be a scientist from a young age. I'm sure there's some other podcast about this. I've talked about this, but I wanted to be a scientist, and I wanted to work on the issues of climate change and global warming through carbon. But I realized that for me also, what was most interesting was the chemistry, was the production of these things. And then when I specialized in applying that knowledge, in those skills to machine design, process design for medical devices, as I was saying, where you want to even optimize the drug delivery, you want to optimize how the body interacts, which is what I then got my PhD on as well. How do you take the same systems and cut across so many industries? So after specializing in all of these areas of packaging, medical devices, biotechnology, wastewater, and working on systems from nanoscale to full plants, where I've been standing on top of the plant at age 20, then you think, now what, and I did want to build for India, in India, or in India for the world, you can say. And there are a lot of visionary industry leaders across organization. Aap startup bol lo ya SME bol lo. And over time, because of the institutes I was in, because of my schooling, and because of various avenues I got, there was so many people who wanted solutions. They were like, find us a way to make sure this material doesn't break. Find us a way to reduce water consumption in cement curing. Find us a way to make furniture that's out of bio. Like, there's so many problem statements, and the best part about being in India in this time is everything is an opportunity, right? You think, and now, we are setting up a base in Goa, in West India. There's also regional differences. The manufacturing density, which is in UP and which is in this part of the country, for let's say paper, or Gujarat, where you're looking at plastics and specialty chemicals, there is a lot of difference. The same brick costs 2 rupees in some states and 20 rupees in some states. So there's so many ways to work on the issue of cost, supply chain, raw materials, and we find these difficult problems very interesting, and we try to also build the bridge with, younger career scientists, engineers. They also need employment. We build capacity because we have them work on these projects while they are students with the industry partners, so they can also be hired. Because that is part of our problem. When you want to do very innovative work, you need everything: machines, people, consultants, money, and time. So that is a part of the story.
No, so I think very well explained. I think my follow-up question would be, you told that you work generally with SMEs and startups. So can you give an example what kind of problem they come with? And then what is generally your approach after that?
Yeah. So the most interesting problems that they come with would be, like, we have been exploring this idea for 18 months. We found all these researchers. We have made a prototype. So there was one startup that was working on hempcrete, and then another one working on hemp-based biocomposites, for example. Right? Like we talked about bamboo composites with plastic. But here with biocomposites, there is a difficulty in processing. So we start with them at that stage. Some of them don't have a name also. Sometimes the companies, when they come to us, they have an idea and they have the passion to put in their time and money also. So this is where it's an SME, right?
Yes.
And somebody recently came up to us who wanted to set up a solar recycling plant in Bikaner, because there's a lot of solar panels in that region. So we enter at that stage and we explore, commercially and technically what is feasible, because it is true that it's not a magic wand. Many people think that material scientist is like shakalaka boom boom or something. You just draw it and then they will make it happen. We wish it was like that. So we have to work very fast and efficiently to see ki, is there IP available somewhere in India or outside which we can utilize? Is there research that we can already apply? Are there patents where we can compete with them? And how do we help them with what they have? So one of our main questions becomes, okay, what do you already have? Your plant, your land, your people, your team, your R&D, because that decides how much cost will go in, right?
Yes.
You cannot do everything from scratch. Even when we've worked with very large, 10,000 crore plus size companies in garments and in energy sector, they also have certain things they have done well,
Yes.
And certain things that if they start, then the investment size also increases with the size of company, because you cannot do a benchtop experiment.
Yes.
You have to directly innovate at scale. So we try to work through that and then usually spend a couple of months on a product development cycle if people are ready to go ahead with it. So that is with startups and MSMEs, because we also work with investors on their portfolio management, on their diligence. That again, diligence becomes like, what is the market situation? And how do we simplify it for them also, that they are understanding what investment they're considering. And so for the portfolio management parts, what we try to do is that companies, like we worked with an impact investor last year, and they had 4 companies in their portfolio, which were also social enterprises. So there was a lot of, livelihood creation and value creation happening there. So if it's one thing, if you just upcycle something and we feel good about it, that is important too. But it's also important and difficult to make high value, high quality products, which is what everybody's talking about for India.
Yes.
Reduce import dependence, invest in specialty manufacturing, whether it's semiconductor or anything else. So what is our role in that? We always ask, and it's our role to make those difficult but important products easier to develop. So why only packaging? Why not automobile, right? If you can make felts for, mattress, you can also make a felt for a acoustic for a movie theater, right? Your cost will go from 50 rupees to 500 rupees. So we try to think at every level, how do you make a better product? And it should be feasible, of course. It can't be like, I feel like making a better product. So I think that is how we work. It really depends on who the client is, who our partner is. And we have a lot of collaborators, like now Fitsol could be one of our collaborators. That also plays their part. We know our part well. We understand the systems, the chemicals, materials, the processes, the challenges, but we don't understand other aspects of supply chain. We don't understand, for example, how you plug into, the whole story of even calculating scope 1, scope 2 emissions for that matter. What we know, we want to do that. So we play that role with whoever. We also work with other development consulting firms on, now we are getting involved in policy design. We are on a CII task force for critical minerals this year, which is it's a very difficult topic. It's led by Loham, and then we have representation from Leyland and Tata and everybody. And so we are there speaking what we know and trying to see like how these, your titanium alloys, all of these important materials. We started with lithium, right, because of EVs, but there's so many that need to be worked on. So we want to, decide somewhere national industrial priorities, and it will help our economy as well.
Definitely, I think very vast topic
Yes,
to
is.
discuss. But generally, if somebody comes with you with some problem, which starts with definitely knowing whether it's already being innovated somewhere, is there any patent lying somewhere, and then helping them out with whatever is their need. What is the timeline somebody is looking for? Generally, how much time does it take?
So the first phase, we try to get it done in 2 to 6-8 weeks. After that, you should be able to make a decision. Is this the right thing for us to do now? Should we prioritize something else? Do we have the money? Do we need to raise? Do we need to take a loan? Do we need to put people on this? Then it takes about 4, 5, 6 months to go through one cycle of product development. And then again, in some cases, we will start another cycle, but mostly we prefer that it should be in-house, and then, the client will come back to us 1 year later with the next product or with the next challenge. Because, ultimately it's only been a few years for us. It takes at least 3, 4, 5. None of these things have seen, nobody has seen the products yet, right? Sometimes, of course, it's IP, so we can't even speak about it as much, but it takes time. And so we come at different parts of the journey, we are there. And our goal is that these companies, these industries become self-sufficient. And that they are able to, because R&D is ongoing, like with EPR and compliances and all of that, it does keep changing, right? Because we are all learning.
So you become their extended R&D partner.
We are their extended R&D partner, absolutely. And we consider, or everybody we've worked with, a friend, every collaborator, we are there basically for our part. Baki aap karo, dhanda aap apna sambhalo, but we are with you on that journey.
So on a lighter note, I was thinking, what is one thing that we generally use on daily basis and also think a lot about it, whether to use it or not. In terms of sustainability, either it can be material or product. Anything in your mind?
So one that has been really on top of our mind, and we're trying to figure it out also. It's actually cars and bikes and scooters. Just any transport that we use. We think a lot about like which vehicle to buy. We even think about EV or not EV. But if you even look, like a car has so many components. It's not just the engine kaun sa hai and pickup kaisi hai and all of that. All your dashboard, your interiors, the materials of this, a lot of them, of course, are plastics. They are non-woven materials. They are felts. They are foams, and these are very specialized products. So and it is a car, so it's also going to be out in the sun. If you want to make a change, like there are people who want to, it's very difficult. Even the body of the car, right? You have steel, you have aluminum. There are regulations now on the carbon emissions of steel, like the CBAM, that rule that is there for exports, and a lot of people are addressing it through energy. You would be able to tell me about this, but that is something that we are really thinking about. What is inside the car? What are the parts of the scooter? Because this thing of EV and like a CNG bus versus an electric bus versus that is actually the electricity. That is the energy source, right? We are the materials, like we are always thinking what is actually inside it, and how do you get a product to be that good. So yeah, that's something that we use every day. We see it, but we're not really thinking what is it made of.
Completely agree. So actually I read some article few months back or something. BMW Germany, they made a car, EV car, in which they have almost used everything as a recycled or a better material. And they're telling with even, I think, some 100 kilometers of running, it will be break even in terms of the carbon emission compared to a traditional car that is already there. So a material innovation, I think these OEMs have started thinking in that way.
Absolutely.
How they can replace that. And it's not only about material innovation just because of cost. I think they are now also thinking material innovation because they want to reduce climate impact.
Absolutely.
And they're putting, I think, a lot of energy and effort over there. I'm seeing changes because we work very closely with a lot of these auto OEMs. And there's always a debate about that, plus a debate on whether the fuel vehicle versus EV vehicles. I'm part of those debates. And I think now of late people have started realizing, yes, they need to also put an effort in this as a consumer. And maybe there might be some premium that they need to pay to start with. But of late, if they become early adopter of these things, they are helping the future generation.
That's very true. I think that, like we all have a role to play. This BMW one, maybe it's the i3. I remember I'd seen a prototype of this vehicle like 10 years ago. And it's got flax fiber composites in the dash as well. And the issue that people are trying to solve for is reducing material use, even in the body, and lightweighting. Because there you look at fuel efficiency. Now again, every time fuel prices go up, your engine can only do so much, right? It's the same with aviation fuel. It's the same with any of these. So definitely people are thinking about like the composites, the plastics, what is going inside the vehicle, what is the efficiency of the vehicle. We are already seeing a lot of conscious consumption in home goods, personal care, cosmetics, electricity at home, what is your AC star rating, your fridge. So many changes have come in the last 10-20 years. We are seeing very large brands get made and acquired based on what they are using in their cosmetic product or their home care product, and it's a good thing. And now we can extend packaging. Of course, we've seen the single-use plastic ban, but it's such an interesting point because like there are banners, right, which are flex banners, like even road pay or at an event, and those are usually PVC, or you have reusable, so different variations. But again, it's such a difficult material to substitute. And a banner is a huge product, like,
Yes.
you know, it's like a balloon or a banner. So there are so many of these things where whether you're an innovator, a manufacturer, consumer, there's so much scope, and we see it as scope because
Scope, yes.
a product is then, I mean, this is revenue, right? It's revenue, it's an opportunity, it's jobs, it's climate impact. So it's good fun. Of course, it's difficult. But yeah, a consumer can definitely start to notice and read about these trends and see what choices they can make and be promoters of these
I
things.
think of late this generation they have started thinking because
Yeah.
they have started, I think, feeling the impact of environment and everything
That's also
shortage.
true, yeah.
So they might have started thinking, and it will impact their future generation maybe.
So the name
Because it's
of
a
your
long journey.
podcast, right? 2 degrees. So we are already on track, 1.5 degrees of warming. And yeah, 2 degrees is a scenario that we are
Yes.
preparing for. So it's true, people are thinking about that.
So now coming back to our original thought process, if any company wants to adopt this, because most of the customers that we go and talk, like in the case that we gave example of a BMW, they change everything, correct? If any company wants to do that, generally they face challenge in the implementation. There can be a lot of issues. One is the availability of material,
Right.
R&D time, and everything. So, what are the ways you tackle those? For example, if somebody wants to solve this issue, they are genuinely interested and they have budget R&D kind of thing. So, how they will? What are some of the problems you think they are facing in implementation, and how we can solve that?
How can we solve? So I would say, like you pointed out, like sourcing of raw materials tends to be the first roadblock. Like when people wanted to work on hemp composites and hempcrete, right? Even bamboo. So if you use bamboo for construction, like the Bangalore airport that was constructed, it's a beautiful design and great idea, a lot of great elements. But basically, bamboo that's needed for building materials is different. It's a different species of bamboo. So if you like, whether it is a natural material or it's a bioplastic or a composite, it is about choosing the right raw material for your location also. Practically speaking, the emissions from transportation of a material, not even talking about supply chain disruptions and those issues of managing it, we can certainly reduce the friction, we can reduce the cost and the carbon emissions by choosing the right raw material, which is not the ideal best always, right? It's a materials transition, we always say. Like you have energy transition, it's a materials transition. We want to move towards by promoting better and better each time. And by promoting means using and investing.
Yes.
Right? So sourcing is one part where when we work with the manufacturer, we are very conscious about what is the, you know, availability, turnaround time, how many kgs or tons is needed is there, the cost at scale. We cannot focus, even if we are doing benchtop innovation, the goal is to produce at scale. Aaj so we made something, right?
Yes.
But is it going to be every month? Am I going to make my 4,000 pieces? Am I going to make my 10 lakh bottles? Am I going to make my 4,000 tons? So that's how we would, one thing, how you reduce the friction and you know, how you make it faster to scale. The other part, which is the challenges you asked about, it's quite unique. Again, depends on the industry, but biotechnology or pharma, for instance, even advanced recycling, anywhere where you have chemical engineering, where you have reactors, you have plants with these specialized inputs, what we call consumables, right? Like the reagents you need, sourcing that, choosing that, am I even a chloroform or acetone, like basic solvents, what purity do I need, who is making them? There are huge opportunities also if somebody wants to make high quality chemicals, because it's usually concentrated with a few known large brands, which are even global brands.
Yes.
So the chemicals, consumables, like it's like a printer, right? You buy a printer, but then you have to put the cartridge in it, right? You have to pay for that regular, whether it's a 3D printer or a normal printer, you had to pay for that regular cost. So building that into the design, and then also for an innovation opportunity, how do you improve the overall system? Then you think about handling, safety and handling. We were discussing this right now, that the more like what we call green chemistry or green production and green chemicals, the idea is that you use, instead of using a highly concentrated acid, you can use an acetic acid. These are basic chemistry concepts, we all studied in school. So how do you make it simpler to use? How do you improve the quality, the training of the skilling of the workers, and also safety and handling, right? We don't want lakes catching fire, and we don't want those problems. Nobody wants it. No industry also wants it. But then what is the solution? How do you help them? Today we are innovating. We are trying to do things differently. Let us anticipate ki what could go wrong. We were talking about flammability as an issue and all of that. So it is these small things which are your processes, your protocols, quality control, and everybody wins, because if a better quality product enters the market, the company earns from it. People have something good to use, which is at maybe a more affordable cost because it's locally made. And obviously again, carbon and jobs and all of those things are there.
Completely agree. So actually, in one of the event that I was part of, closure event, two of the biggest FMCG companies in India, they were talking about the sustainability and how they support startups in that sense. So one of the problem was that only they told, we are willing to support, but there is no guarantee that whatever they have promised in terms of number of materials today, they be able to supply for next 2 years, 3 years. And if they give some order, and if it doesn't come after 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it doesn't get delivered, it's kind of impact on their journey. So once, for example, if these big brands, they bring a change in their packaging or product portfolio whatsoever, they cannot go back to their original things. Otherwise, it doesn't look nice on them. And that's why I think, as you were telling about availability of raw material and dependence on that should be solved also along with this complete product journey. And related to that only, we were working with the book publishing company.
Okay.
Very innovative, in that sense, leader.
Okay.
And they asked us whether we can change the paper type of the book to something very sustainable, innovative. And we worked on that project for 6 months or something, gave them very good options. Because initially we were trying to solve, being a startup, we thought, okay, we can solve this. And that's where we also put a lot of effort in that, although not related to our direct industry of auto, FMCD. But we thought, okay, we can solve that. And we put effort and everything done. Those guys also supported us a lot. But after 6 months, we came to realize, and it got approved by their different department, and it's a B2C product anyway, books. We could not supply the quantity that was required at the global level. They got approval from their global, at the global level, US based company, they got the approval, but sourcing was a challenge. And so I think we need to move needle there a bit.
Right.
Then only we can take an holistic approach and solve this.
Right.
And that's where I think our next segment is something where we are trying to club everything together, and how we are trying to solve. So first is definitely you need a consumer or the customer. Then you need suppliers of those raw materials.
Right.
And then we need a partners like you, innovators, who come in between and who kind of merge or marry everything together. So that if somebody is trying to innovate, at least it's a sustainable innovation for a longer period. So any thought about that? So for example, there are a lot of moving levers. So and because you work with a lot of these SMEs, and I think they have a bigger issues, because maybe one who is sitting over there as a purchasing head or the sourcing head, he might have limited capability or bandwidth compared to the bigger OEMs, purchasing head because
True.
he has very large network across
True.
world to source material and everything. So have you faced any such case studies or examples with your existing user where they have developed everything, solved everything, and then they are facing backlog, or how they have solved that? So whenever you guys design, do you think that approach in mind while solving that okay, this material is something which is available?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah, from the beginning only, we start with our options. We will ask them, what do you have access to?
Okay.
Because if it's a mature company, an SME 5, 10, 15 years, certain supply chains they already have. Everybody has their own networks, their partners, depending on the geography also, right? If you're in Tamil Nadu versus in Uttarakhand, it's a very different dynamic. So we really try to see what is available to them in that region. It could be in terms of partners, it could be in terms of suppliers, it could be even talent sometimes, right? And we try to design from the beginning around that. So, we have definitely seen at least one or two. I mean, we're hoping this company, we worked with them 2 years ago, their products will also be out in the market in a year or two. But we have seen people do this correctly, where they say, ki, we know this material, we know this industry, we have access to A, B, C, D. Now let us bring it together, as you said, with the market need, with the consumer need, even financing, right? What are the subsidies? What are like the PLI scheme came out? What are grants? If you're a startup, what grants are available? DBT, BIRAC has been doing this biotech ignition grant for so long. So we definitely see and we push that people bring all of this together. We have to be very practical about it. How do I produce at scale, right? I'm not only innovating, I'm not experimenting. If you want to experiment, there are ways to do that,
Yes.
in the lab, and that is the role of academia and science and scientific research. So we have to separate those two things. And I do think that, yes, of course, a larger company, MNC, MSME, as you were also mentioning, they have the influence, they have the access. So they are also trying to put it to good use. Ki let us find these things and then bring it to our supply chain, our component manufacturers. But it is tough. It's very difficult because of the pressures, and it's a separate, these are separate industries sometimes. So we try to be that bridge. We try to make it easier, ideally more enjoyable, right? Innovation and engineering especially should be fun, should have impact also, but should be like, you should feel like today I did something at work.
Yes.
We want people to feel that when they come into their factory or whatever. So there is that joy of research and science and innovation, but with practicality. Ki, will I get my input? Do I know what I'm doing? Or I'm just calling up people and saying, give me this, give me that. You're wasting time, your own time also, right? Because it seems like you're doing work, but you're not really doing work then. Like we as consumers, have a responsibility to adopt, to support like innovators and manufacturers. Also, there are some in their various industries, you will see that they are taking very bold steps.
Yes.
They may be doing it as investors, they may be doing accelerator programs, they might be doing actually R&D in-house, they may be funding other, like there are many ways. But we are definitely seeing mature, 100 crore plus companies taking big steps to, I mean, I'm on a more positive note, like they're taking very big steps to encourage innovation, young entrepreneurs, scientists, give them opportunities, and also try to bring good products to us as users. So there's so much work that happens which we don't hear about.
Yes.
And I think that they are taking,
Completely.
if it's a listed company, you still hear about it. But they also, everybody is, doing their bit. We want more to do it, and we are all there to help. Like you all are there, we are there. There are many others. Even industry associations, institutes are there. Testing labs are there. So the support is there. We need more people to take that leap of faith, jo bolte hain, take a chance, and they will also earn, and everybody will benefit.
एक लीप ऑफ फेथ डेफिनेटली, और दूसरा मे बी नॉलेज बेस जो पार्टनर्स की कमी थी इस सेंस में कि हु कैन हैंड होल्ड देम इन द कंप्लीट जर्नी, दैट माइट बी गेटिंग फुलफिल्ड विथ यू कमिंग टू द स्पेस. तो वो एक मिसिंग था, क्योंकि हम भी जब ये बैम्बू ये अभी कुछ सीड्स बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे थे,
अच्छा।
बैम्बू मटेरियल से बायो प्लास्टिक जो और
हाँ,
बैम्बू का मिक्स करके, क्योंकि हम द पैकेजिंग दैट वी डेवलप इट हैज़ इनसाइड्स PP seeds where part goes and gets rid. So we thought can we replace those PP seeds with bamboo seeds. तो बहुत सारे जो यहाँ पे हम काफ़ी सारे मैन्युफैक्चरर के साथ काम करते हैं जो हमारे लिए पैकेजिंग बनाते हैं. सो उन्होंने बोला नहीं सर ये हमारे मशीन में ये फंस जाएगा, ये होगा वो होगा. तो रेजिस्टेंस आते हैं उनके साइड से क्योंकि उनको भी पता नहीं ना कि मशीन में कैसे ये हो जाएगा. सो वहाँ पे हमें लगा कि हाँ नॉलेज पार्टनर्स और ये यहाँ पे ज़रूरत पड़ेगी. वुड लाइक टू एंड दिस विद सम रैपिड फायर क्वेश्चंस.
Okay.
So one sustainability trend you are excited about?
I mean, we were talking about this. I feel like, I mean, all the consumer goods, right? All your, again, personal care products, your shampoo, your lotion, your cosmetics. I mean, these are there now. I'm not getting into why we use these things and all that. But I'm excited to see, just as a person, just as a user, to see people get curious, to see people look at even traditional approaches, to look at natural methods that have been there in India for a long time and bring that into our, you know, like into our everyday life. And it's great to see Indian brands do so well, list some of them. So that is, yeah, I mean, it's not a technologically, focused sustainability trend for me personally, but as somebody observing it, I'm happy to see that this is happening. Yeah.
Completely agree, because this industry is going so fast.
Yeah.
And people are looking for alternatives always.
Yeah,
organic, कुछ नया आए.
Right.
Label clear हो.
Yeah.
Those kind
Transparency,
of things. Yeah,
accountability. Yeah.
So one sustainability misconception you would like to change?
इंडिया में रिसाइकलिंग नहीं होता है. It's a really big one. I think for anyone who thinks that, they should really see where their waste is going. I'm not even saying at the landfill level, but if you just observe when you're moving around the city, there is segregation. If we are also not doing it, there are people who do it manually.
Yes.
It's their livelihood. Informal sector recycling rates in India are very high. One of the highest in the world, actually. And only now, with certain cities and municipalities taking very bold strides, like Indore became a great success story, Vellore, there are many places where, many campuses also. So there is a blending of the municipality, of the administration, of course the support with the EPR, the latest revision, some of the credits, the earning goes to the managers, the ULBs, urban local bodies they are called. So that is a big misconception. That so, you know, whether you are segregating or washing and giving it, it's more about the dignity of another citizen, you know, that who is earning and managing your waste. But recycling होता है,
बहुत होता है,
is what I'm saying.
अब इंडिया ये EPR I think mandate copies हो रहे हैं बाहर वेस्टर्न नेशंस में भी.
It's brilliant. I mean, yeah.
Yes. So one material innovations that you are excited about?
So there is a lot. So like we know about viscose, which is a very common material in our garments and accessories. So viscose is made from cellulose, like it's a cellulosic material, which is usually made from timber and etc. So now there are alternative. They are called man-made cellulosic fibers, which is reconstituted cellulosic, like lyocell is one. So there, because most of the things that in the natural world, like even this, right, this is all lignin and cellulose. So cellulose is there in everything, even your cotton waste, even in your raw material. And so if you are able to utilize that and then really start to replace some of the materials we are not happy with in these supply chains. There a lot of work is happening at scale on these alternative cellulosic fibers, and they are already in some of the products we use. But from a innovation at scale point of view, I find it quite exciting.
Yeah. So one thing businesses should stop doing while attaining or declaring their sustainability goals?
They should stop trying to do everything. I think because sustainability anyway is a complex thing, you know, sustainable development goals, there are 15 right now. And there are many ways to be sustainable, to clean up your supply chain, but also save money, bring value to everybody. So it's okay to pick some. There is like energy goals, water goals, there's scope 3 emissions in terms of what are you using. It becomes difficult for a consumer, for the manufacturer, for a brand. If you have too many things, then they're all difficult problems. You have to pick a few and do it well. So we feel like depending on the industry, people should stand for example, Maruti has their driving schools, and of course it's a different topic, but it comes under the same story that every brand and manufacturer will choose something where they can genuinely have an impact and make a contribution, and it's all part of sustainability and sustainable development. So it's okay to pick some things and do it well. We should not do everything.
One word that describes the future of sustainable materials.
Biomanufacturing. Yeah. I mean, of course, there is policies and all that we've heard of, the Bio-E3, and I do see across industries. Of course, there is agri-residue, stubble, there is processing waste, there are packaging materials, but everything in energy materials, other systems, there is a lot that bio-based manufacturing and biotechnology can do, especially in India. And we always joke that for any bacterial system, you operate it at 37 degrees Celsius. And 37 degrees Celsius, you have everywhere almost, So we are in a good position as a geography, as a country, on average, to do this type of work. And we have the right talent and the knowledge, resources, industry support, government support. So yeah, I do think that's the future, present also.
Thank you, Ramya. I think we learned a lot about material science. I am actually very, very bullish about this. Why? Because as I told you, scope 3 major that we are trying to solve is scope 3 emission, which consumes raw material, supply chain, that is logistics, packaging, thing that we are trying to do, and waste. And waste is generally getting fed into raw material nowadays. So I see a huge scope when we talk to customer innovation in this material science and everything. And we needed a company and experts like Ramya.Materials who can help us and also our customer in the journey. With that note, I would like to end this podcast. It was, I think, very, very informational. I think not only I learned, I think our audience would have also learned a lot about this. And they will now go deep dive into this topic because I think most of the material innovation I was hearing about before this was mainly about SpaceX that they were doing and with the listing, the kind of listing that they have because of that. I think most of the people will now also start realizing that now.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you for great questions and for discussing everything you've learned. I think there's a lot of good work we are going to do together, I'm sure. There's a lot of scope.
No.
And yeah, material science is not just rocket science. So let's make it happen.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.